Which is better, the new facelifted Tesla Model 3 or the BYD Seal Premium? These are two of the best electric sedans that you can buy, but I'm gonna give you a definitive answer. Which one's best?
That sounds pretty good to me.
That's a pretty good deal, don't you think? Especially for free. So today we're gonna take you for a full and comprehensive tour of both of these cars. Check out their exterior designs, check out their interiors, their practicality. More importantly, which is faster, which has the better electric technology, which drives better, and which is better value. We're gonna give you a full answer on that. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, let's talk about the BYD Seal. So we have the Premium here, and that means it's middle of the range. We have reviewed the Performance, which is right at the top, and if you want to watch that afterwards, you can click the link below. There is a model that sits below this, which is the Standard range, and that actually starts at a really good price, 52 grand drive away. That's insane value, man.
Honestly, man, to get into an EV these days, that's pretty good.
But unfortunately, that does come with quite substantially less power, also a smaller battery. So today we're comparing the Premium with the base model rear-wheel drive Tesla, and you'll see why. Let's talk about the design of this thing, man.
I think it looks really nice from the front.
It's actually like gorgeous. Now, it's clearly taken some inspiration from the Model 3. You can see that even just from the way that the nose kind of bulges out there. It's almost identical, except now the Model 3 has changed, but we'll come to that in a second. It's also got some Porsche Taycan style LED daytime running lights there, but very bright LED lights here. Really cool and very unique effect lights here too. Again, part of the daytime running lights. You've also got your BYD badge proudly spelt out there. I love this paint color too. It's like a pearlescent metallic. I don't know how to describe it. It changes to like purple and green depending on the lights. Very cool. Down the bottom, you've also got some functional aero. Really is for your air conditioning though. So yeah, but otherwise I think at least from the front, it looks really, really good. But let's talk about the Model 3 Highland, because I'll be honest, before I thought it was really quite uggo, like really quite uggo, but they've made a lot of changes to this. Now we will have a separate full review out on this coming very soon, so make sure you subscribe. But to highlight the biggest changes, you get these new lights here with very cool daytime running lights, very bright LEDs there too. I'm pretty sure they're matrix LEDs now across the range, and they've added a lot of functionality to older headlights too, thanks to over-the-air updates. And that's one of the things that Tesla does better than anyone else, over-the-air updates, adding new features, but also taking away. For example, with this Highland, they've deleted the front camera here. So now you've got that one up there. And they've also taken away any parking sensors. And unlike the BYD where you do get parking sensors, that means it's just a terrible camera-based system.
Yeah, look, it sometimes detects ghosts. Let's just say that.
Detects ghosts. It doesn't stop when you actually do hit something. And then when you're not hitting something, it thinks you're hitting something. So yeah, there's a lot of work that could be done there, especially with fixing those systems. One of the things they really upgraded for this was lowering the front, making the drag coefficient even better. They've also just redesigned most of the panels up front. I will say though, I have noticed some, well, bad paint finish here. It's actually coming away here where the bonnet meets the bumper. I'm not seeing that at all on the BYD Seal. So I still think that Tesla has a bit of a way to go, even though both of these cars are made in China. So if you're one of those America versus China, well, they're both Chinese. So there you go. Now the Model 3 here, it does start at $67,000 drive away, and that is for the base model rear wheel drive. But as you'll see when we actually come to drive it, these things, despite that having a bigger battery and more power, are almost identical in their power outputs and range and all that other stuff.
And as you'll see, power doesn't always equal performance.
No, it doesn't. Jacob, let's check out the side.
Let's do it.
Alrighty guys, let's compare the sides now. And obviously note, there is a giant BYD sticker on the side and a QR code. It's actually one of their showroom cars, so
one of BYD's more annoying traits.
Yeah, every single BYD has that on it, and I don't love it, but anyway, just pretend it's not there, okay? Let's talk about the side of these. So these are new 18-inch portal wheels. They've got this very aero design to them. You can rip it off, but I don't recommend it because you actually lose a significant amount of range just from wind buffeting. You've got these Michelin E-Primacy tires on them, and they are specially developed for the Model 3, and I'm not gonna lie, they are just better than the Continentals that you get on the Seal.
Seriously, some of the best mechanical grip we've had around Saucy Corner. More on that later.
Yeah, more on that later. And both of these are eco tires, by the way, which is really important. Here you have a camera that works for your blind spot camera, for example, but also as part of your dash cam. This car now has 7 cameras down from 8. So it deleted one of those.
Boo.
I will say again, BYD is clearly taken inspiration from Tesla, and they've just kind of put a BYD design badge in the place in a very similar shape. Both of them actually have these flush door handles here. I actually prefer them more in the BYD Seal, just because they are pop out and they just feel a bit better. These ones you still kind of have to fidget around with a little bit, and no one gets them the first time.
It's kind of hard to open with one hand, to be honest.
It's an interesting design. It's definitely not the end of the world, but yeah, I just think the BYD Seal does it better. You've got another camera up here. This, of course, also has really good connected services like Sentry Mode, where you can monitor the exterior of the car from anywhere in the world, and it will also record events, things like that. So I love that system, and is one of the biggest reasons you would even buy a Tesla in the first place. They have some of the best software out there.
100% agree.
It's just better than a BYD Seal. I'll tell you what isn't better than a BYD Seal. There's no privacy glass here, but you get that on the Seal.
It's a bit surprising.
It's a little bit surprising. Also, in terms of length, the Model 3 is 4.7 meters long, and the Seal is 4.8 meters long. The Seal also has a slightly longer wheelbase, and that does mean that inside it is a little bit better for back seat passengers. But again, we'll come back to that. Jacob, let's talk about the bum.
Oh, let's do it.
And then coming to the rump derriere of the Model 3. First, I love these taillights, man. This is all new.
Yeah,
so cool.
And I actually really like how when you open the boot, the tail light kind of comes up with it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It is very cool. You've also got Tesla now spelt out on the back. That used to be a mod that a lot of people do. So I think Elon is listening. Does look very nice. I really like it. And then down the bottom, you have a revised bumper. But otherwise, it's a little bit...
You know what? It's classic Tesla, very understated design.
I think so. Whereas the BYD Seal is kind of the opposite. And I'll be honest, I really like the arse of the BYD Seal. You've got such a cool LED light bar at the back. It's just got a beautiful design, man. I don't know. BYD Seal is spelt out there. You've got BYD badge. They changed that from Build Your Dreams, which was literally spelt out and just...
Thank God for that.
Yeah,
no one wanted that on the back of their car.
It just doesn't really, just doesn't look that great. Down the bottom, you have one of the most aggressive diffusers on any car that's not like a race car. You know what I mean?
I'd call it, frankly, egregious.
I don't know. I kind of love it. It's just cool. Aggressive gives it a nice stance. But again, let us know what you guys think. Do you prefer the looks of the BYD Seal or the Tesla Model 3? Me personally, I think I just prefer the looks of the Model 3 a little bit more now. Before it was horrendous. Now I think it's pretty good. Jake, what do you think?
100% agree. I mean, the BYD Seal is very nice, but I think the Tesla Model 3 will appeal to more people. That was a very interesting sound you made.
Alrighty, let's talk about practicality now, Jacob. Everybody's favorite goddamn subject. But it is important here because it does differ actually quite a lot. So despite having a longer wheelbase, the Seal has definitely prioritized backseat space over boot space. So it's okay at 400 litres, though to be fair, that does not include what's under the floor. Tell you what, by the way, Jacob, the BYD Seal does include some nice sunshades. Sunshade that you can actually put up to block out the sun. Fantastic. And they actually work. They work really well. And also it comes with a charging cable.
The same cannot be said for the Tesla.
The same cannot be said. Charge it yourself, apparently Tesla says. But yes, 400 litres, it definitely feels a lot smaller in the back of this, which is a shame. You can, of course, drop to the second row and then you get a lot of space. But if you've got people in the back, you can't do that, can you?
I mean, you can. They just won't be very happy.
It'll be like this. You, of course, do get a frunk, and of course, Daddy Jacob is the absolute best tell how much space there is, Jacob, and how much would you say?
My legs are now broken.
And what does it tell you?
About 50 litres.
About 50 litres. So it's 50 litres of storage up front, but it is carpeted, which again cannot be said on the Model 3. But let's first talk about its bum. Oh,
it's got a bit of a catfish bum, doesn't it?
It does. It's got a huge rump. Derriere, there is a lot of space in there. In fact, Tesla say it has 32 litres more space than the pre-facelift, just because they've had some efficiency gains in terms of its build. Tesla claims that this has 594 litres of boot space, but I think that does include this massive amount of space under the floor there.
Yeah, because otherwise I don't see that being like 200 more than the Seal.
No, it is definitely more, but I don't think it's that much more. You can also drop the second row and, of course, get more space, just like the Seal. And up front, you actually get quite a lot more space. Daddy Jacob.
A ginormous bloody frunk. It's like 80-something litres.
I think it's about 83 or 84 litres. No, it's 88.
88. Very lucky number. I have to fact check myself. Heavy breathing.
88 litres of boot space. Alrighty, let's check out the interior.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys. Coming into the interiors now. And this one is actually really hard to evaluate because it's going to appeal to two very different type of people. This very much is, I don't know, Jay, would you say like the more conventional interior?
100%. I mean, you actually have something other than a screen.
Yeah.
Here.
Exactly right. And there's a lot going on, but I think in a really good way in most ways. So for me personally, I do prefer the interior of the Model 3, but I'll come to why. First of all, the materials in here, they're just so nice. Soft touch absolutely everywhere. You got like this suede Alcantara. It's just a really nice place to sit. You do feel cocooned, enveloped in pretty much luxury, and that comes almost from the base. What it doesn't include is a leather steering wheel like you get here, which does feel pretty good, but in some ways, I'm not gonna lie, it feels a little bit cheap. The buttons, things like that. Minor complaint. The seats as well, they look fantastic and they are mostly very supportive. I have found myself though slipping off under hard braking. So they look like they provide more support than they do, and they are very, very soft, but I think almost to a detriment, though they are real leather, unlike what you would find in a Tesla Model 3. In terms of technology, I think in some ways it's even better than the Model 3, just because you get things like Apple CarPlay, which you don't in the Model 3. It has definitely copied a lot of things from the Model 3 though, so these dual wireless chargers here are a very clear copy.
Yeah, they're just not done as well though, because it's not like your phone slips around everywhere.
Correct, and it doesn't really charge very well. You also control your air vents through this display here too, and they've actually got extra functionality like swinging, like you'd find on a Toyota Crown in Japan. Like, very cool stuff. But again, it's a little bit copycat. Not that that's a bad thing. Manufacturers copy each other, but clearly they did copy. What they didn't copy, though, is like this digital instrument cluster up in front of you. Not the best display in the world, but it does show enough information, and I think it looks pretty good. You also get a heads-up display, again, something you don't get in the Model 3. In terms of practicality, it's also pretty good, so absolutely massive felt-lined glove box there. You've got a lot of storage under here, although it can be quite hard to access your USB-C port, USB-A port, and top-up. Lucky. You've got a couple of cup holders here, and it's actually two-stage in case you have a smaller cup. The door bins are pretty tiny, I'm not going to lie, but you do get a bit of storage as well to the right of the driver. Also, of course, it's a BYD, so this is its party trick. The screen can rotate to portrait. I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's a total gimmick.
It's so useless. Like, you would never use this.
I have driven lots of BYDs at this point, all of them are sold in Australia at the moment, and never have I done that other to say to someone, look at that, it's kind of like the fart mode. The Tesla Model 3. You'll never use it, but this just seems like...
Excuse me, I like to use the fart mode. Don't speak for me.
I should mention, soft center armrest with some storage under there as well. Another area actually where this absolutely demolishes the Model 3 is the sound system. So the Model 3, as part of the facelift, has actually removed some of the speakers for the base model, but this gets a Dyne audio sound system. It sounds really, really good with a bit of EQ tuning.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is software. I don't think the speakers are that good, but can't complain.
Oh, shout out, by the way, to this gear selector here. Very different in a Tesla, as you'll see in a moment. You've also got drive modes, which again, you don't get in the Tesla. Well, you kind of do. You get chill, acceleration,
And standard.
And of course, here you get stalks, and you'll see why that's important soon. Let's check out the back seats.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, let's talk about the back seats now, because really that is the biggest benefit of the Seal over the Model 3. So I'm 5'11". I've just got stupid amounts of legroom. So they've really done a great job in packaging at least this interior space. But as I said, it does unfortunately eat into practicality. You just get less space in the boot. Got a couple of map pockets here, air vents, phone storage, smiley face thing. And then open this little hidey hole, got a USB-A port, USB-C port. Tow room is fantastic when you're just sitting like this, or jam your feet up in front, and obviously you get nothing, but who does that? Also, heaps of headroom here, and the sunroof is actually a really tinted sunroof, which is very good on a hot Australian day like today. It's about 33 degrees, and I'm not really feeling it. But as I said, you do get sunshades included with this, which you would have to buy as an accessory for the Model 3. So really good packaging and value for money for sure. In terms of the seats, they're just this really beautiful, like diamond quilted effect here. We've also got a pull down center armrest with a couple of cup holders. I don't know, man, like it's a really nice place to be.
Yeah, I think this definitely wins the back seat department, and I think especially in terms of your seating angle as well, it's a lot better in this than in the Model 3.
In fact, let's talk about the Model 3.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, guys. Let's talk about the interior now of the Model 3. Jake, what's the first thing that you notice?
Screen.
Screen, and second thing?
Screen.
I noticed that it's really a lot less. And for me, it feels a lot less cluttered. And for me, I'm just liking this interior experience more.
So you're a minimalist?
Not usually, but I just think that the implementation here is just so good after the facelift. Had you asked me before the facelift, I would have said, go for the bloody BYD. Because you didn't get things like cooled seats. These seats here, they've actually been updated as part of this facelift. They're now cooled. They have more cushioning.
They're very nice.
And they feel really good. Even though they're not real leather, it's faux leather. Same with this steering wheel here. Now, to be fair, Tesla steering wheels do have a nasty habit of wearing really quickly, so it'd be interesting to see how this fares in the long term. But it's a flat bottom steering wheel. I just love that you got like buttons here on the steering wheel for your turn signals. This has gone completely stalkless now, so if you want to activate your autopilot, you double tap that. By the way, it's not really autopilot, but anyway, that's a whole other discussion. In terms of materials, you do get a lot of faux leather dotted around, just like the Seal. So here, it's nice and soft touch, or very soft touch. You've also got this new fabric here, which replaces the wood of the pre-facelift Model 3, but is actually also strategically placed there to reduce the NVH in here, the noise, vibration, and harshness. In fact, it's a lot quieter in here than the Seal, and you'll see that when we take this thing for a drive, just because of all these changes they have made for the facelift. It's also got really cool ambient lighting, just like the BYD, but I think the implementation here is just better. You've got some silly stuff, right? Like everything has to be done through the screen, and some of it is totally fine, but some of it is silly. So for example, if you want to open the glove box, you've got to press a button there. It's just so silly. It's silly, it's unnecessary, it doesn't need to be that way. Don't know why they do it like that. As I said, BYD has copied Tesla for their aircon, so that's kind of funny, but whatever. Copy the good stuff, I guess, and I'm not sure if I love it anyway, because you have to use the screen to change where the air comes from, but whatever. It also doesn't come with any Apple CarPlay app. Well, thankfully it does use Google Maps, so that is really what most people use anyway. But if you want to use Waze like I do, you simply can't. You're out of luck. Don't know why they're so steadfast on not implementing that. It's just so weird. Other silly things, you can make music. For example, this is the tune that Jacob and I made by accident in about 2 seconds. You've also got things like a romance mode where it turns up the heat. Got emissions, which is that little silly fart thing. I don't know, some silly stuff there. But I'll be honest with you, it does work really easily. You don't have your drive selector stalk anymore, so now you've got to use this display here, and there's redundancies up here on the roof. It does beep at you a lot. Can you please stop? Please stop.
Look, I mean, I think without a doubt, it's the best screen on any car.
Yeah. It just, I don't know, man. Even though there's a lot of silly stuff with it, it just works. And you don't worry about changing the aircon where the location is, because you don't need to. You just kind of set it and forget it. You don't really open the glove box very often, so it's never really an issue. Like, small things like that, I actually do kind of appreciate. And they have increased the processing power behind it and made the bezels thinner. In terms of storage, they've changed more things. So here you've got a massive amount of storage, and you can also put away that hardy hole. You get a couple of cup holders. You've got a 12-volt socket in there. You got the dual wireless chargers that really Tesla pioneered. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a much better implementation, as we said in the BYD Seal. Your phone doesn't go flying away and actually charges. Under here, you get some felt lining and a lot more storage there too, with the USB-C port. Don't love that build quality. Not the best. Some things about the Tesla build quality that they say they've really improved, and I think they have in a lot of ways, but still things like creaking there, a rattle behind me that I don't love, and I haven't heard in a BYD Seal. Also, if you want to like change the settings of your steering wheel, there's no grab handle. You have to use the buttons here. It's just, I don't know, unnecessary steps. Also, you get massive door bins, way better than the BYD Seal that can actually fit like a large bottle of water. And otherwise, it's very Tesla, you know, just minimalist. What else is there to talk about, man?
No, 100% agree. I mean, I think the BYD Seal probably has a little bit better storage, but apart from that, the Tesla wins in every other regard.
Do you actually believe that?
Yeah.
Fair. Cool. Let us know what you guys think of that. That's going to get some hate. Let's check out the back seats.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, guys. Let's talk about the back seats now of the Model 3. And in a lot of ways, it is quite a lot worse than the BYD Seal. But there is one big reason that I like it. Let's get the bad out of the way. Legroom is okay at 5'11". Toe room is not that great, even when I jam my feet all the way back. Headroom is very good, though, because of the dual-paned sunroof here. And by the way, that is just one piece of glass all the way through. Even to the back window, it just changes its tint. It's
Such a cool look. I love it.
Very cool. You do get really nice seats back here. In fact, in a lot of ways, I just prefer them to the Seal because they just have more support and more padding without like the softness that you get in the BYD Seal. But anyway,
But the seating angle is not as good.
no, the seating angle is not as good. My legs do not sit as good of an angle. I do love this. Pull that down. You got a nice soft center armrest with a couple of cup holders, and the headrest actually acts as that thing from stopping it from whacking down further. You have these folio mat pockets. It's quite nice. But to be honest, the Seal kind of matches all of that and does better in quite a lot of ways. The thing I do love is this new display here, man, because it's actually so good. I thought it was such a gimmick at first.
It's one of the most high-definition little displays I've ever seen.
And it gives you that Tesla experience now for the backseat passengers. You could do things like play games on it, like you could in the front seats, but now you can actually play them in the back seats too. You've got YouTube and other streaming services, so you can watch things like CarSauce. you better. Please subscribe. Subscribe from your Tesla. Subscribe from the Tesla. You've got buttons here to turn on the heated seats in the back. That's right. You get heated outboard seats, even though it's a base model. You can even move the front passenger seat forward now, which is pretty damn cool. And then you've got your aircon controls here, which you can independently move, or you can just set it to the ideal position based on what Tesla picks. So that means that, yes, in the back, you get those kind of silly air vents that you can't change yourself, whereas you could before. And you get a couple of USB-C ports there too. So because of that, it just really elevates the experience, I think, and it gives you that really modern feel that you never really had in the back, but you always had in the front. Now you get in the back. I just prefer the setup of the Tesla. I prefer the seating. I just kind of like it a lot more in a lot of ways than the BYD, but I also get why people prefer the BYD too. And Jacob, do you agree with that?
100%. I think the BYD is just a more normal car. I think Tesla's just so different in every single way that it might just be too much for people to adjust to.
It's innovative, and I like that. There's not a lot of that going on anymore. But let us know what you guys think again of the interior spaces. Which would you take? Because, yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Tesla. But Jacob, the most important part, give it some sauce. Which is faster than Tesla 0 to 100?
Alrighty, Daddy Jacob.
Time for the thing that the Tesla's going to lose it.
Well, that's what you think. We're going to time 0 to 100. We have our specialist timing gear here. Tesla claim is 0 to 100 of 6.1 seconds here for the rear wheel drive. What will it do? Piss me. Here we go.
Let's do it. Ooh, stamp that.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's good for traction.
Ooh, picking up now.
Oh,
Oh, that's pretty good.
a good 0 to 60 kilometer per hour.
Oh, not far off the claim.
Not far off.
You
but
don't seem impressed.
I'm kind of a little unimpressed, but I mean, it's still good. But for an EV, I don't know. 0 to 100 in 6.31 seconds. Let's test out the Seal.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, friend. So, will the BYD Seal be faster? Again, specialist timing gear. Let's do
I'm
this.
so ready.
Fist me. Here we go. Same
boost
thing.
it.
There is no such thing. Let's floor it, baby. Oh,
Come on.
Slight delay.
Come on, give us more power.
Oh, that feels pretty quick though.
Oh, slightly quicker.
Slightly quicker.
As you'd expect.
But closer to their claim of 5.9 seconds. We got 5.97 seconds. That's pretty good, man.
I'm pretty sure the claim's 5.7, but okay.
Oh no! Oh no! Then it's about the same. Alrighty, Daddy Jacob. Driving the Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, and of course, the Highland, the facelift. Let's put our foot down.
I love this new Tesla Model 3. Oh, it's so fast.
It is really fast, and it doesn't seem to die down the faster
No.
you go, which is actually really good. So we're driving this before we drive the BYD Seal Premium.
This is the bloody benchmark.
This is the benchmark of the segment, there is no doubt. We have a full review coming out of this very, very soon, although we did film that before doing this comparison, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, that is really...
It's a super nice car, man.
It's a really nice car. The changes that they've made under the skin, they've completely changed the suspension, front and rear. The subframe has been tweaked with new, better brakes. NVH has been improved by 20 to 50%. I don't know which exact figure to take, but they say between 20 to 50%.
I think some things 50%.
You've now got acoustic glass.
Oh, yeah.
You've got more insulation in the doors, better build quality. So there's a lot of things that they've changed for this facelift. In fact, in that review, and again, subscribe to see that because it's coming out very soon. We said that, you know, this is almost like an all-new car. It's
Pretty much.
got
At least it feels like it.
It's got so much different with it. I will say, the rear-wheel drive, you put your foot down,
Oh!
you get a lot of power, but as you'll see,
My God.
the BYD it feels more powerful. It feels like you've got more going on behind you.
That is true.
Here in the base model, Tesla Model 3 Highland, you get a 60 kilowatt hour battery, which is a lot smaller, about 25% smaller. However, this thing is so efficient at 13.2 kilowatt hours that you will get close to the claimed WLTP of like 512 kilometers, whatever it is.
Yeah, which is only about 50 kilometers or 60 kilometers less than the BYD Seal. So that 20% doesn't necessarily translate into real world range. Oh my God.
I will say,
The handling.
the handling is phenomenal. What they've done under the skin of the Model 3 Highland, like, it's, I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's almost like this is a sports car. Like, they've really hit what I would call BMW driving dynamics, which is just a really good blend of comfort and handling.
I agree, even though I would say BMW are more on the stiff side, this is definitely not stiff.
No.
This is very comfortable, in fact.
It's just really comfortable, and you're not wafting, you're not wallowing. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just such a comfortable ride. And you couldn't say that before, by the way, of the pre-facelift Model 3. That was so stiff, like almost unbearably stiff. So if I was to compare this one with the old Model 3, I'd be like,
no,
don't do it. Like, this is worth the $4,500 extra that it costs now. However, you have to keep in mind that this is still like 10 grand more than the BYD Seal.
Yeah, and does it feel 10 grand more expensive?
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to the BYD Seal. Oh, it's saucy corner. Let's see how it goes.
Bloody corner.
It's so quiet in here, man.
Can't even hear myself.
Lock fingers and now tickle me.
Ooh.
It's a gentle acceleration here in the rear-wheel drive. You can get this as an all-wheel drive, long range, but it's a lot more money, and I just don't think you need it.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Dude, that is an unholy grip.
Things down to like how they've tuned the traction control. It's like unbelievably good, man. Unbelievably good.
I just think we've gotten to a point now with EVs where they can kind of just be everything you need it to be.
Really. And then you
crazy.
Double press this. Autopilot as well. Again, a system that just, it works. Now, I will say, I don't think the system overall is better than a BYD Seal, and I'll tell you why. First of all, Tesla do this thing where they just remove stuff from the cars. So they've removed the sensors from the car, first of all, front and rear, but they've also removed the radar. And so as a result, this thing relies only on the 7 cameras that it has, which, to be fair, that is a lot of cameras, all disconnected, reconnected here. The terrible thing about it is that it phantom brakes all the time.
Yeah.
It will just randomly slam on the
Oh,
brakes.
I
And
guess
and there'll be people behind you, and
I
it's
get-
really bad.
The thing is, though, like, that can be fixed with an over-the-air update, which is kind of cool.
It can, which is kind of cool.
So I don't know. Look, on the one hand, I agree with what you're saying, but I kind of like the philosophy of chopping off the unnecessary stuff and just keeping the bare essentials to do everything it needs to do.
Fair. Well, let us know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Is my philosophy better, or is Jacob's philosophy of just removing everything?
Let's just philosophize together.
Also, listen to this.
I couldn't hear anything.
You can hear the clicking.
you speak up?
You can hear the clicking of the Tesla. Like, you can hear that more than the horn outside.
Ah.
It's so quiet in here.
I love it.
It's so refined. But how does the BYD Seal compare?
Will it seal the deal?
I hate you. Let's test it out now.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, Daddy Jacob jumping
From
into the Seal.
Tesla to Seal.
Get it?
Yeah, because that's what seals do. Ah. Oh, very gentle. You know why? Eco mode.
Oh,
Get it out of there,
you
baby.
got me. Have you been driving this in
I've been
eco
driving
mode?
in eco mode. I've been trying my best,
I'll
bro.
put me in sport mode then. Okay, here we go.
This will be. Oh,
Okay,
something's wrong.
nothing's wrong, but this is something I've noticed in some BYDs, and once you start to get faster, when you start to get close to the 100 kilometer an hour mark, you put your foot down.
Oh, that's better. That's where it wasn't giving us that much power before.
No, that's a bit inconsistent. Okay, what I was going to say is that it slows down, and it definitely doesn't feel quite as linear as a Tesla motor, if that makes sense. Oh, that felt good.
It's pretty quick though, man.
What's going on? Okay, so
I think it was stuck in eco before.
maybe it just didn't change itself
Yeah.
out. So let's talk about what's powering this thing.
Let's.
It's a single rear motor.
Ooh.
Oh, just a single one. It's not coupled up like you and I.
Oh, you and me, we're
A couple.
a couple.
Couple of guys. That motor at the rear, it puts out
230 kilowatt,
and
360 newton meters. So, you know, a healthy bump
A
over
healthy
the Tesla
bump.
Model 3. You can feel it.
you can feel that. How do I stop this car from yelling at me?
Can I just say, I find it weird how when you put your foot down all the way, it says 240 kilowatt on the thing.
Oh.
I think B1.
Oh,
Oh, 247.
247.
It's like overpowering itself.
Liar! You're a liar. You put out more power. That's never a bad thing. Hang on. I actually need to pull over.
Why?
Because that beeping, I'll just hold it on down. Oh, go to sleep. Is it turning off?
Are you talking about the lane centering?
Yes, please make it shut up. Okay, we're pulling over.
Has it yanked the wheel out of your hands yet?
Yeah, a couple times it's
Done
tried
experiment.
to.
Clearly, you've been living with a Tesla for too long. You don't know how to use anything but a screen.
I feel like such a boomer. Alright, lane support system, bye-bye.
Off.
Emergency lane keep assist,
Off.
good night. I don't usually turn these systems off, but that was really intrusive.
It's very intrusive in this car.
Good night, driver attention warning. Yeah, I'm sure.
Child presence detection? Yeah, delay that. I don't want that at this point in life. All right.
Boop. Okay, we should be good now. Oh, here we go.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, give me all that
look,
power, baby.
It's definitely got more power than the Tesla Model 3.
But you know what it doesn't have? Oh, revised dampers.
Yeah, you can't take corners at the same speed at all.
Nowhere near. And it's kind of, it almost feels kind of dangerous because you've got so much more power at your fingertips, but you just cannot use it.
I'll tell you what, it's also really softly sprung. God. And I think that's really good for daily driving, but certainly for spirited driving, it's less so.
Yeah, and you know what? We had the same critique for the performance version of this. So
it was very softly sprung.
It's not just the premium version, it's kind of across the range.
Like I said though, the Model 3 before, this would have demolished it.
Oh yeah.
Demolished it.
Yeah.
Phone slip it out. They tried to copy Tesla there, it didn't work out too well.
No.
It demolishes it. But now that the new Highland is here, unfortunately, for the Seal,
Tesla's upped its game, man.
Tesla has really upped its game.
In a big way, and I feel like they kind of saw the BYD Seal coming, and they were like, you know what, we got to stay ahead of this curve.
Speaking of curves, it's time.
Saucy Daddy Corner. We've somehow done a Yui.
Oh, we've done a U-turn.
This time, explicitly tickle me.
Oh, tickle me right now, let's go! Oh.
Gentle.
Very gentle, just like the Model 3. It's a good thing to do, though.
I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared.
I just heard the back end come around. Okay, here we go.
Oh, God.
Hairpin number 1.
Oh, it's bogged down.
Yeah, ESC is not as well tuned on this, that's for sure.
Oh, jeez.
And that is electronic stability control.
And can I just comment on one thing, and I think you might have noticed it there.
Yes.
Is the steering just doesn't feel as direct, and it's very hard to get the nose to point where you want it to point. Like, it's very easy to oversteer or understeer, like...
It's a bit disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit disconnected, comparatively so.
I mean, look, we're nitpicking here. It's not a bloody sports car.
No, but it's a comparison, we have to be honest. The other thing, let's talk about the battery. Oh, it's the speed warning.
You nincompoop.
You can't win these days.
No,
there's so many warnings.
There's too many warning systems.
It's not BYD's fault. This is every new car, unfortunately, so you can get a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. Anyway, the battery. So it's an 85 kilowatt hour gross battery size. That's really big, which theoretically gives it a WLTP of like 570 kilometers.
Yeah, 570. Real world, we're probably seeing closer to 500, I want to say.
It's not as good. So 16.8 kilowatt hours is what we're kind of averaging over this week of testing, which is actually quite significantly worse than the 13.2 kilowatt hours we're getting in the Model 3.
Yeah.
And as a result, the real world range ends up being actually quite similar.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably getting like 20 or 30 kilometers more in this versus that, but the battery size is like 25% more.
Correct. So you're going to be spending more time charging it anyway, especially because it charges slower at 150 kilowatts.
And that's in this spec. If you go for a lower trim of this, you'll only get 110 kilowatt.
Yeah,
but you get a smaller battery.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, yes, it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. But at the same time, I think you're getting your money's worth if you step up to get the Model 3.
100%. Like, either way, you're going to be spending more than 60 grand. It's like, do you want to spend 60 or do you want to spend 70? And I think in terms of the extra price, Tesla justifies that.
Now, having driven these back to back,
it's a big difference.
It's actually a bigger difference than I expected.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob, let's get into our final thoughts.
Let's do it.
Okay, so final thoughts. Which one should you buy? Well, look, the BYD Seal, even though it might seem like I was really negative to it in the driving section, it is still one of the best electric cars that you can buy. It provides really good value, especially at its price point of 62 grand. Drive away for this premium spec. I wouldn't go for the base model. I wouldn't go for the performance. If you want to learn more about that, you can check out the review below. But really what lets it down is how the electric powertrain comes together, especially when you just compare it to the Model 3 Highland. Now, if this had been the pre-facelift, I definitely would have said, go for the BYD, because that ride, the ride quality, the way it drove was just not as good. But they've made so many changes to this facelift that it is definitely, in my opinion, worth the $5,000 premium, even though you don't get a leather interior, feels close enough, and that interior technology, man, what do you think?
Look, I'll be honest, I prefer the Tesla, but I can see the BYD Seal stealing some sales from the Tesla for people that want a more conventional driving experience.
Totally agree. Let us know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Which would you buy? Where would you actually put your money? And of course, if you want to buy any new car, head to carsauce.com/buy. We will get you the best prices without any hassle and with cars that are actually in stock. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.